This is Bob Fitrakis with Dan Dougan on the other side of the news, streaming live on the Free Press Network and WGRN.org, and on radio at WGRN LPFM 94.1 and WCRS LPFM 92.7 and 98.3.
Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord, yeah.
We're privileged to have as our guest today, Dan Dougan and I, John Scales Avery, one of the leading peace advocates in the world, and again, Professor Emeritus at the University of Copenhagen, and a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 1995. Welcome to the other side of the news, Professor Avery.
I'm very happy and honored to be on your program, and I think that you're doing very, very valuable work in this era of misinformation, when we absolutely cannot trust the mainstream media to give us anything like a realistic description of what's going on in the world. So I want to congratulate you, first of all, on the wonderful job that you're doing.
Thank you, and also you can read Dr. Avery's account in thefreepress.org, a great historical summary and analysis on the history of Iran. And one point you made prior to the show while we were discussing it is Iran hasn't really been aggressive. They haven't attacked anyone in centuries.
That's right. They have not attacked any of their neighbors in several hundred years. And yet they have been the victims of attacks which have mainly been motivated by the desire to control Iran's oil. And these go back about a century to the 1920s, when the Qajar dynasty was overthrown in a coup orchestrated by Great Britain, and Reza Shah, the father of the famous Shah that we know so well, was installed to replace the Qajar dynasty. Reza Shah was an officer in the army in command of the Cossacks in northern Persia.
Well, that may be a shock. Many of our listeners probably weren't aware there were Cossacks in Iran. We associate that with Russia. So there's actual Cossacks he was in charge of?
Yes, there was a corresponding branch of the Persian army, of the Cossacks, and Reza Khan, as he then was the commander of that. And the British government believed that he would be a better person to resist the Bolsheviks than the Qajar dynasty. So they orchestrated a coup in which he commanded, he led 15,000 Cossacks to the capital and overthrew the previous dynasty. And in 1925, he was crowned as Reza Shah and adopted the name Pahlavi. So So that was a British orchestrated coup, paid for by British money, but motivated by desire to keep control of the Iranian oil.
Right, they didn't want the socialists, quote unquote, to get the oil, right? So.
Yes. Well, but to say something about Reza Shah, he was an admirer of Kemal Ataturk, who modernized Turkey, and he had it as his goal to modernize Iran, and he did. Although his methods were very harsh, he was very much against the clergy in Iran, and I think he at one time even shelled a mosque. He also ordered the Iranian women to abandon their veils and to wear hats, and many extremely harsh acts made him rather unpopular, although he did indeed modernize Iran. But then what happened was that in 1941, Germany invaded Russia, and Iran was neutral, although perhaps leaning a little bit towards the side of Germany. Allies wanted to bring supplies up to Russia, and so Britain invaded Iran from the south, and Russia invaded from the north. There was a 3-day war, and in the meantime, there was a broadcast of all the things that Reza Shah had done that made him unpopular. And finally, Reza Shah realized that he was going to lose. And after the third day, he went to the American embassy and spoke to the ambassador and said, well, what would you advise me to do? And the ambassador said, well, if you will get into your private airplane and fly to Egypt, we will arrange for your son to be put in power. And so that was the deal, and that was what happened. But in Egypt, Reza Shah was assassinated by a British agent. But the young Shah came to power, and he also had a very strong sense of mission. He believed that he had really the sacred duty of abolishing poverty in Iran by modernizing it. And he too was somewhat harsh in his methods finally.
Well, didn't he have a group later on, the Savak?
Savak, yeah.
That was considered one of the most brutal, police intelligence apparatus in the world.
Yes, it's not sure that the young Shah knew all about what was being done in his name. He saw it as his mission to end poverty, and poverty was very severe in Iran. So, seen from his point of view, perhaps some harshness was justified, but certainly not the methods that his secret police did in fact carry out.
So the occupation, he's there when the Allies occupied the country after winning World War II?
during World War II, the Shah was nominally in charge, but in fact the country was governed by the Allied occupation forces.
Right.
And in fact, my father was Director General of Public Health for the Allied occupation forces during that period. And he remained after the war as advisor to the Iranian Ministry of Health. And my mother and brother and I joined him in 1945.
So you lived in Iran?
Yes, I spent 3 years there from 45 to 48. I was between 12 and 15 years old at that time.
And so, keep going. What happens next?
Well, what happened next was that in 1951, Mohammad Mossadegh was voted in a democratic election to be prime minister. And what he did was to nationalize the assets of the Anglo-Iranian oil company in Iran. And that was enough to provoke the West to overthrow him. And the British went to Eisenhower and claimed that Mossadegh represented a communist threat. In fact, that was nonsense. He was, in fact, an aristocrat who could trace his ancestry back to the Qajar dynasty. But Eisenhower agreed to help, and the CIA and M60 carried out a coup and overthrew Mossadegh.
Is that the famous story of General Schwarzkopf's father coming in with a briefcase full of millions of dollars and bribing people?
Wasn't that Eisenhower's?
I would like to mention that we knew General Schwarzkopf very well. We used to go and see films at his house, and his son was a classmate at school with me, so we knew his family very well. And I'm sure he did. That sounds right. There was a briefcase. But anyway, the coup overthrew Mossadegh, and then the Shah was in complete control.
And that's by 53? Is that correct? The coup's from 51 to 53? Or?
53, yes. The coup took place in 53. The Shah, who was in total power, he still had the mission of trying to eliminate poverty in Iran. And in 1963, 10 years later, he gave the land belonging to the feudal landlords and also to the land belonging to the crown to landless villagers. This was his white revolution.
Indeed.
It created very, very fierce opposition. And then he had both the landowners and also the clergy against him, and that was too much. He was overthrown in the Iranian Revolution of 1979.
But he was a U.S. ally in the Cold War, I think. Didn't Henry Kissinger refer to Iran as a, quote, regional stabilizer? on the U.S. side.
Yes, I think that's right. That's right. But another way to look at this revolution, the Iranian revolution that overthrew the Shah, is to say that Iran was halfway between Western culture and traditional culture, and didn't really belong to either. So it was falling between two stools. And it didn't know which way to go. But in 1979, it chose the traditional culture.
I can remember being working on my PhD and being told by a Marxist professor it would be impossible for an Ayatollah living in France to come in and take over a modernizing country like Iran. But clearly, we were wrong about that.
I think that he didn't do it by himself. It was all of the internal forces in the country that made the revolution.
But in 79, isn't that also when the hostages were taken?
I think that's right. I believe you're right in saying that.
Yes, it was.
Under Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that retaliation for the Mossadegh coup?
I think it could be interpreted that way. Yes.
And also for the years of oppression.
To say what happened in 1980, which was that Saddam Hussein, whose government had actually been put in place with help from the United States, attacked Iran because Iran had lost its U.S. backing. There was a very, very bloody and destructive war for the next 8 years. And there were almost a million casualties of the two nations.
And what started that war exactly, Dr. Avery?
There's some reports that U.S. intelligence and that the U.S. instigated that war.
I think that might be right. At any rate, they had stopped supporting Iran, and I think that they viewed Iraq as a bulwark against the Shiite government in Iran. And it's a little bit like the episode in the 30s when people viewed Hitler as a bulwark against communism and supported him.
Right. Dr. Avery, before we continue in this fascinating history lesson, we want to remind everyone this is The Other Side of the News on WGRN, the Green Renaissance, and WCRS. Streaming to you from the Indy-Media studios of the Free Press Network here on YouTube, but also available online at WGRN.org. Plus, listen to us on Columbus, Ohio's 2 volunteer-run low-power FM radio stations, Fridays at 5:30 p.m. on WGRN 94.1 The Green Renaissance, and Mondays 5:30 p.m. on WCRS 92.7 and 98.3. And we are again here with Dr. Bob Fitrakis, the host of the show, and Dr. John Scales Avery, a Nobel Prize winner, and getting fascinating history of the lead up to our situation in Iran. And yes, you were discussing the attack on the Iranians by our allies at that time, the Iraqis.
And one thing in your article you point out, and there's a real good book called Desert Mirage by Marty Yan, that a lot of these weapons, including gas, were supplied by the United States, Britain, and its allies.
Yes, that's right. They were. And there's a lot of documentary evidence for that. It's completely established that happened. And actually, Saddam also used poison gas on his own people and Kurds.
And the U.S. sent in experts, some linked to the CIA, to claim it wasn't gas.
Oh, well, I think that the situation now is that although Iran's present government has many serious faults, any attack on Iran would really be both insane and criminal. And why insane?
Amen.
Well, because the economy of the U.S. and the world cannot support another large-scale conflict, because the Middle East is already a deeply troubled region, because it's impossible to predict the extent of a war, which, if once started, might develop into World War III, and especially that's true given the fact that Iran is closely allied with both Russia and China. It's criminal because it violates the UN Charter and the Nuremberg principles.
So is it what Trump did, was it a war crime and an act of war?
I think the chief prosecutor at the Nuremberg trials has said that initiating an aggressive war is the greatest of all the crimes, since it contains all the others.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Which is why Bush and Cheney should have faced charges at the hot.
Of course, and if the problem is that the International Criminal Court it has the power to show what is morally right, but it doesn't have the military power to enforce its decision.
And does the U.S. even recognize its jurisdiction as to U.S. forces?
I think the U.S. passed a law which was some people call the Hague Invasion Act, under which they would invade Holland if U.S. forces were brought to trial by the International Criminal Court.
Okay, you've got 3 minutes left. We're going to let you have them all to say what you want to our listeners with this current situation.
Well, I think in the last 3 minutes, I would like to, first of all, emphasize the danger of escalation. We recently passed the 100th anniversary of World War I, and we have to remember that it escalated uncontrollably from what was supposed to be a minor conflict. There's danger here, too, of escalation, especially since the mainstream media are, as I understand it, featuring war hawks today as supposed experts. And we have to remember that Pakistan too has nuclear weapons and might be drawn into the conflict. And in any situation of this kind, there's a danger that nuclear weapons could be used either intentionally or by accident. The heightened alert increases this danger. A nuclear war with the very large number of nuclear weapons that we have would be an ecological disaster, and a disaster not only for the nations involved, but for all of us.
Thank you. We're going to end on that note. We appreciate you, Dr. John.
I wish we had
Avery, and would like to have you back on again.
Thank you, sir.
With further discussion. Thank you for your time.
I look forward to it very much, and congratulations again on your wonderful work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. To read more about the assassination of General Soleimani, go to thefreepress.org. The article Attacks on Iran, Past and Present by Dr. Avery.
Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord, yeah.
Hi, I'm Bob Fitrakis, editor-in-chief of the Columbus Free Press. The Free Press Network began fighting against the oligarchs in 1970 with the Columbus Free Press newspaper. The paper started on the Ohio State University campus as a reaction to the Vietnam War and the Kent State killings. The Columbus Free Press is one of the oldest independent, investigative, activist papers in the United States. We were the first Western newspaper to expose the killing fields in Cambodia, to get a reporter behind the scenes at Wounded Knee, and we've outed neo-Nazis. We were the first gay rights paper. We cover police brutality and government corruption. We lead the current election integrity movement. Free Press reporters and volunteers investigated the theft of the 2004 presidential election. We've been exposing the vulnerabilities of electronic voting machines through our reporting and books ever since. We've documented the names of more than 2 million voters deleted from the Ohio voting rolls, many of them re-registered when we made those lists public. Our congressional testimony and lawsuits have served to contain voter fraud and preserve democracy in our country. Building on decades of telling truth to power, we have developed the Indy-Media Center of the Free Press Network. Currently, we publish a monthly newspaper, 2 websites, 2 community radio stations, WGRN 94.1 FM and WCRS on both 92.7 and 98.3 FM. Now a video podcasting, the Multimedia Studio provides the new media soapbox that the Central Ohio community needs. Reporting, workshops, and training is available for budding journalists and content makers. We are strategically located in the capital city of the United States' key battleground state. Remember, as Ohio goes, so goes the nation. We need your help to keep muckraking journalism alive in the heartland. Help us fight against fraud, corruption, and injustice. You can keep the Free Press Network growing with a one-time donation or become a monthly patron. We have a variety of benefits set up for almost any level of support. Help us comfort the afflicted while we afflict the comfortable.